Fiancé was secretly disappearing after work and lying about it for months before our wedding, but when I caught him and forced him to show me his journal, I found out he had been hiding something far more heartbreaking than cheating. I don't even know where to start. My fiancé, 29M, and I, 28F, have been together for 8 years now. Last year he proposed to me and we've been planning our wedding since. 2 years ago I got a job offer, dream job, from a company in Singapore. My fiancé, boyfriend at the time, urged me to take it. We both quit our jobs in Canada and moved to Singapore. He found work for himself 5 months later. He works for a company that's predominantly women, which never bothered me until recently. Everything seemed great when we moved here, up until earlier this year. He's seemingly distant from me, we don't chat as much as we used to, he's always just on his phone now, and we're not as intimate as we used to be, he's never really in the mood anymore. I didn't really think much of it, I thought he was just going through a funk. Well, in the last 2 months he has started staying at work late once or twice a week. It's weird because he's never had to stay late before, and now it's a regular thing. I called his office number the other night and there was no answer. I called his cell and there was no answer. When he got home he just said he didn't notice the calls. Something happened today that prompted me to write this post. I came home after work and he was already home, talking on the phone with someone. When he realized I was home he quickly said I gotta go, or something like that. When I asked him who it was, he just said it was work related. Later in the evening I looked at his phone and there were no calls logged around that time. He deleted the call from earlier. Our wedding is in March, our friends and family are flying from all over to be with us. Reddit. Are these signs of cheating? Or can it be something else? One thing to note. He religiously writes in his journal, he always has since we've met. It used to be a hard journal, now he writes in the journal app on his phone. Given the circumstances, do I have the right to snoop through his journal? If he's done something, I'm almost certain he's written it down. But it's something so dear to his heart, it would feel very wrong for me to violate that. Edit. Thanks everyone so much for taking your time to comment and message me. Comments where Op has replied. Comment 1. If you have a concern and feel like you can't just ask your fiancé, that's a sign that you should stop and reassess the relationship. Oop, you're right, you're absolutely right. We're actually really upfront and honest with each other, and chat about our feelings a lot. Except this year, he rarely tells me anything anymore. When I ask him about his mood, he just says he's tired, or he had a long day. Here's the thing, I don't want to straight up ask him if he's cheating. He's a very smart and careful person, and I'm afraid if I tip him off of my suspicion, he'll delete everything and hide his tracks even better. I know reading his journal would be wrong, I just want to find out more without tipping him off. Comment 2. Right now you don't have any evidence. If you raise any of your suspicions he will just be even better at protecting himself. If you do snoop and find nothing then you are totally in the wrong. If you snoop and find something then you're somewhat still wrong but validated. It's a sticky situation. From what you wrote there are several red flags here. The deleting of the phone call is one. It could be a surprise or secret for the wedding, but he would have no reason to delete it unless he imagines you are already snooping or he is covering his tracks. Trust but verify. If it is starting to get to you then snoop, but think about it beforehand. Any talk you have right now will be met with straight denial and you will never know because he will either be telling the truth or become much better about covering his tracks. One of the days he works late, why don't you go by his employment? Unless of course the late days are random and you don't know until he is already past time to come home. I get missing a cell phone call at work. But the work number should be harder to miss. At least with most office phones they have built-in logs and even flashing lights when a call has been missed. Oop, I forgot to mention, I did go by office one day 2 weeks ago. He wasn't there. When I asked him he said he had to visit a site, and that I should call him before dropping by so that I wouldn't be wasting my time if he was out. Update 1. Thanks for everyone who took their time to comment or message. I read them all and weighed my options and decided it would be best to try and trap him in a lie. Sorry for the wall of text, a lot happened tonight. So I'm going to give him a name to make this easier, let's say it's Gary. So earlier tonight he said he had to stay at work late. I told him it's no problem, and that I would be baking at home all night anyways. I went to his office about an hour after his call and called him. He didn't pick up, then I called his office number, no answer as well. I waited in the lobby, and I saw one of his coworkers coming out of the elevator. I asked her if she had seen Gary in the office, that I had something to drop off for him. She said she didn't see him. Then I asked if she could scan me in so I could drop it off at his desk. She kindly let me up, scanned me in and then left. I went to his office and he wasn't there. In fact there was only one other person in the entire office. I called again and he didn't answer, so I went home. When I got home, I whipped up some cookie dough and popped it in the oven. He got home at around 8 p.m. and complimented how nice the house smelled. I told him I had been home baking for the last few hours. I asked him how work was and he told me some story about accounting discrepancies or whatever. Here's how the conversation went. Me, poor sweetie. You seem tired, were you running around off-site again all day? Gary, no, not today, I was pretty much in the office at my desk all day. My eyes are so strained me I couldn't find the chocolate chip earlier, I called your cell and your office. How come you didn't pick up? Gary, sorry about that, I must have been in the washroom and left my phone at my desk, I didn't even realize I had a missed call. Pulls out phone, looks at the notification on Snap, 2 missed calls. No idea how I didn't see that. Did you end up finding the chocolate chip okay? Then I snapped. I told him that I was actually at his office at the exact time he said he was in the washroom with his phone at his desk. I told him how I went into his office and everything. Also, his office lights were off, so I know he wasn't just away from his desk. Then I could see the worry setting over his face. I got him. He tried to make up an on-the-spot excuse about how he went to the sister office and I wasn't having any of it. I wanted to know what was happening, and I wanted to know now. Then he sat me down and said he could explain everything. He said that since moving here, all we ever do is spend time together. We haven't made many friends here, and every night, every weekend, all we ever do is spend time with each other, and all he's been wanting was some time alone. So a couple of times a week he'll go and get a drink at Qley, or walk around the city exploring new things. He said that he didn't want to tell me that he wanted alone time because he thought it would hurt my feelings. I told him I believed him, even though I wasn't convinced. I told him we are about to spend the rest of our lives together and we should love and trust each other fully, and never feel like we should hide anything from one another. He said he agreed 100%. Then the conversation went like so. Me, but the truth is, you've been lying to me. And it hurts. I want you to do one thing for me so I can trust you again. Gary, I know, I'm sorry. Anything, babe. Me, let me read 2 pages from your journal, one from each of the times you had to work late. The worry and panic started to set in over his face again. He said no, absolutely not. That his journal is too private to share, even to me. Then we argued back and forth for about 10 minutes. Then I gave him an ultimatum. Read me those 2 pages, or we're through, as I will never be able to trust him. Then his eyes started to water, and tears started running down his face. He begged me to just trust him, that I'm the only one he's ever wanted to be with. I gave him one last chance, at which point he said, I'm afraid of how you will see me when you read those pages. At this point I was convinced he was having an affair. I told him that we're through and the wedding is off. I started to make my way for the door, at which time he handed me the phone and said the password is 6248, but I can't be here when you read it. Then he left the house. I'm not going to go into too much detail of what I read, but I am ashamed to admit that I read way more than I should have. Reddit, my fiancé is suffering from depression. He's been depressed since we moved away from home. He hates his job, and he doesn't have anything in common with the people he works with. Back at home his coworkers and him were pretty much a tight-knit family. I will share one line that's in there. It's been so many years since I felt this hollow emptiness. Though I was done with it, but in a way it's comforting to be depressed again. I no longer have to fear my happy days will run out. At least now I know how I'll feel tomorrow. He also wrote that he was 100% convinced that I would leave him if he didn't get his depression figured out. But I did find out what he's been doing after work. He's been going to therapy 1 a week after work. I waited for him for a few hours and he still hadn't come home. I couldn't call him because I had his phone. I decided to call his sister, they're super close, and explain the situation. She said she knew. They've been chatting quite a bit lately. I couldn't understand why he didn't trust me enough to come to me with. She then explained to me that he's had depression on and off since high school. When he was 17 he came out to his family about his depression. Their mom and dad didn't understand, just told him to cheer up. He lost his girlfriend and some close friends. Only his sister was there for him. Then when it came back in his early 20s, he told his then girlfriend that his depression had come back, looked to her for support. She dumped him shortly after. Then he met me a year later. His sister said that he hasn't felt depressed in 7 years, and he thought he was finally going to live a happy life. But with losing his great job, family, and close friends in the last 2 years, it came back hard. His sister said he doesn't just think you'll leave him if you found out, he knows it. There's no doubt in his mind that you'll leave him when you find out that he's a depressed freak. His words, not hers. I kind of lost it at this point. I told her I'd call her back when I found him, and I promised her that I'm planning to marry this man, and whatever it is he's dealing with, we'll deal with it together. He's my forever. This broke my heart. He must have felt so alone. I hate myself. I hate all the people that hurt him in the past to make him feel like a freak for having depression. I've never had to feel depression, but I understand it. I want to be there for him. It's 1:23 a.m. and he's still not home. He must think I'm half back to leave him for good. What do I do? Sorry for the wall of text. It's been a complicated night. Update 2. I called the police. They said to call back if he doesn't show up in 24 hours. I explained that he might be at risk, and they just reiterated 24 hours. I called his phone and it rang, in my hand. I'm an idiot. I called his sister but she hadn't heard from him yet. I called the credit card company and there was an authorization at a hotel downtown. I took a cab straight down there. Asked the front desk for his room number, but they don't give out that information. So they called his room and passed me the phone. No answer. They called again and he picked up the second time and I pretty much said, "It's me, I'm sorry, truly sorry. I love you, please let me up, we don't need to talk it out, or talk at all. I just want to be beside you." At which point he informed the front desk that I can be added to the room and they gave me a key card. When he opened the door I just lunged and hugged him. He held me for what must have been the longest hug of my life. Then he asked if we're going home now. I said jokingly, "Fuck that, we paid for the night." And we both laughed. He said that he's sorry, then we apologized back and forth. He's in the shower now. He said he was about to hop in before I called. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity for a quick update since I won't be on my phone for the rest of the night. I quickly glanced at some of the replies and I'm sorry to those who I let down by reading further into his journal than I should have. I'm quite ashamed myself, but at the time I was running on pure emotion. And a quick thank you to those who suggested I find him ASAP. If not for you, I would have just thought to give him space and probably waited it out overnight. Instead, we are now both at a nice hotel for the night.